Welcome to the CrossFit Canada podcast, sharing the stories of the Canadian affiliate owners and coaches. I'm excited for my guest today. You probably, if you were to go out of your affiliate, potentially have one of, maybe next to like CrossFit Canmore and some of the others, but probably the best view outside your door, I'm assuming. We have Kyle from CrossFit Banff. So how we'll kick this off is introduce yourself and your affiliate, and we do question of the day. And so favorite place other than where you live to go visit.
All right. Kyle Larrabee. I am the owner of CrossFit Banff. I have owned the gym for 2.5 years now. And to answer your question, it's actually a place that I've coached CrossFit in the past on a couple of occasions, is Kauai. So an island in Hawaii that's our favorite place to holiday. And I've probably been there 7 or 8 times now. So
is that the gym where the owner has like a rooming house that you can stay at? What's her name?
Bethany.
Bethany, yeah.
So yeah, she lives in the back, which is very cool. And it's just a small little gym. It's actually similar setup to what we have, but yeah, when I first went there years ago, they actually had a different owner. His name was Corey.
Okay.
And then every time I'd go back to the island, I'd visit, and then I guess, I don't know, it was before COVID, but went back, and she was now the owner.
Okay.
So kind of started a relationship there, and then she had reached out. It was actually right after COVID, and asked if I wanted to come coach. And so I actually went down a couple times for 2 or 3 weeks at a time and ran the gym. So that was a pretty cool experience.
Are you able to go back now that you own an affiliate?
What do you mean by that?
Do you have the time to go back?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Not to coach. So like,
okay.
Sorry. If I'm going back to the island, which we do, I'm definitely not going to go coach CrossFit. That's my time to just lay on the beach and relax. So yeah.
You're going full vacation mode.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. Well, I'm going to preemptively answer this question. So as we're recording this, it's the end of April. You're hosting the Canadian Affiliate Summit, the Long Day weekend, Victoria Day weekend. So when this gets released, it'll be after that. So I'm going to preemptively say that Banff is, because I've never been to Banff. I've been to Jasper, but I'll just preemptively say Banff is my favorite place to visit. I'm going to put some pressure on it.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to take it on the next thing. But if you have something to talk about Banff for what I was going on, you go for it.
I'm probably going to be doing a lot of talking, so go ahead and we'll roll with it.
Okay, well, then we'll take it from there. Is where I always like to go from next is how did you start CrossFit? How, when, where, all that stuff.
Yeah, I want to make sure I get this story right. So it was probably, I think it was either the summer of 2011, 2012. I was playing college hockey down in the States, and I'm from Vernon, BC, in the Okanagan. And I was back for the summer, and just working out with buddies and trying to train for hockey. But I think there's just a lot of bicep curls and bench press going on, and squats not below parallel. And one of my buddies was like, man, there's this gym called CrossFit Vernon. Have you heard of it? And we should go try it. It's something different. And it was his cousin that had actually started dating the owner, Jeremy Meredith, who is a longtime affiliate owner. Mm-hmm. So we went and tried a free class, and I think it was like a 12-minute AMRAP. There was like push-ups, squats, box jumps, and I had to puke really badly, but I was trying to hold it in. The class had ended, and then Jeremy's like, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. And we're on our way out, and I'm waiting to get out of the gym so I can go to the parking lot and just puke behind my vehicle. and he had a Rhodesian Ridgeback dog sitting there, but it didn't have a ridge. And I made the stupid decision to be like, oh, I noticed your dog does it, even though I'm like holding in this puke. And so then he starts going on about the Rhodesian Ridgeback. I'm like, oh my God. So anyways, long story long, I leave the gym, go and puke behind my vehicle. And then I'm driving out of the parking lot. I'm like, that was awesome. Like, that's what I need. And, so then I went back to school that year, and I'm trying to do all these CrossFit things. So you're in the school university gym doing kipping pull-ups, and I'm trying to get my double unders and stuff like that. And people are looking at you like, what the hell is this guy doing? And basically, yeah, fell in love with CrossFit. And I had finished, I think I had 2 more years. So I was done college hockey, and then soon after just started doing CrossFit full time, started competing in CrossFit, and use that to kind of fill that gap or that space of where I used to compete in hockey and now I didn't have it. And obviously still doing it to this day. So yeah, cool. It's been 13 years, 14 years now.
Where did you go to school?
I split. So I started at Mount Royal University in Calgary, and then I transferred down to a university in Wisconsin in the States.
Okay. And so were you going on like CrossFit.com then after that to like look up the workouts, or?
A little bit, and just talking to friends back home and buddies I had met at the gym through CrossFit Vernon, being like, what are you doing? Like, what workout should I be doing? And then I think as you just kind of learn all of the movements, and I had 2 or 3 months in the summer to get a good idea of what CrossFit was about. And so I just remember grabbing a pen and paper, and then I just start piecing workouts together. So it's like, okay, I'm going to try 20 double unders because I'm still like kind of struggling with, and I'll mix that with push-ups and squats and whatever else. And then so I guess just a combination of doing a little bit of my own programming and then finding out what other people were doing. CrossFit.com, a little bit of everything.
Did you notice a translation into your hockey performance?
Yeah, I tell that story all the time. So like I said, when I probably started working out on my own when I was 11 or 12, just like buying magazines and looking at, like, it was more of like a bodybuilding thing, being like, man, these guys are so strong. Like, I just from a young age, I was so interested in how big these guys looked and how athletic they look. So I started working out on my own at a young age. And then I didn't really ever have guidance. So I was just like, it's what you see in the magazine. So it was just a lot of like grab dumbbells, and I'm going to do 5 sets of 10 reps on a dumbbell incline bench. And we all have the same story. But it wasn't, I felt like I would arrive, for whether it was through minor hockey and then junior and into college, I'd arrive to camp and not feel in shape. And I was like, it would bug me. Like, I couldn't figure it out why I worked out all summer. Like, I sometimes went to the gym 7 days a week, and how could I not feel in shape? And then it was just instant with CrossFit. Like I said, I had a tough first go on my first session with Jeremy. And then after that, it was like, this is what I need. And 100%, I just felt so much better arriving after the summer to camp. I felt in shape. I felt in better shape than most of my teammates, felt stronger. And
it's interesting you say that, because like, as I would read Men's Health magazine, but I was almost like embarrassed to do, because I didn't want to do things wrong, and so I didn't want to do incline presses or anything like that, just out of like insecurity. And then my roommate and I at the time were watching a commercial, and it was like right after McDavid got drafted or had his World Juniors performance, and we're like, he was on it could have been a Gatorade commercial. And like, we're like, that's what we want to do. Like, we just want to train. Like, I just want to train. I don't want to lift weights. I want to do something that looks like training. And then after probably about when I had started CrossFit, not long after you, I texted him. I'm like, man, that's exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. It's like it was in the commercial.
Yeah. It's just like, and we like, growing up and playing hockey, you would always have like your coaches would send you with a piece of paper or a binder of things to do.
Yeah.
But it was still pretty basic. Like it was still like, it would tell you to do your 5 sets of 10 squats, but no one was watching me squat. So I'm almost certain I wasn't squatting below parallel and probably putting on more weight than I should have, just to, I'm in this global gym being like, hey, look how much I can squat. And it's like, that's also kind of what CrossFit does, is it just like, it's very humbling. And then all of a sudden it's like, you've been working out for so long and you think you're in really good shape. And then I'm starting at CrossFit Vernon and there's people that are 60 years old that are blowing me out of the water. And it was like, holy smokes, this is clearly where I need to be. So, yeah.
Completely off track, but I'm interested in your opinion on that, because I think you've nailed it, right? Is like distilled down to the simplest fact. Any new person who starts CrossFit, doesn't matter the time, like 12 years ago or now, they're either like, holy shit, I've been working out wrong all this time. Not wrong, but you know what I mean? It's like, I could be doing it better. Or there's the other half where like, I don't like this. This is different than the way I've been working out. I just want to do that. And, they might last a week, a month, or 3 months, but they'll still like drift back to the way they want to do it. Do you notice that in your professional experience now?
Yeah, specifically in Banff. So that was just one of the things that, everyone's always asking me like, oh, man, it must be so cool to run an affiliate in Banff. And it is, it's very cool, but it's also very challenging. So we're very seasonal, where people are moving here, but they're only moving here for 2 or 3 months at a time. And they're moving here to just snowboard or ski in the winter, or they're moving here to hike and bike and run in the summer. And so they'll fill out a consult form. It's been like, I've seen CrossFit on Instagram, watched the YouTube videos. Like I've always been interested, but I'm a runner, and it's like, I'm in good shape, but I just run. And so it's like trying to convince them that like running is great. And yes, we moved to Banff to be outside and do these, the hiking, biking, running, but weightlifting is also something that you would very much benefit from, or just doing 3 classes a week and you're hiking up Cascade Mountain, once every couple of weeks. If you are doing classes, that hike will feel so much easier to you. And it's just convincing them that there is another way than just what they've always. It's the same thing with when I first started, right? Like I thought I was doing the right thing by just bodybuilding, and you mentioned it's not incorrect. I wasn't doing it wrong necessarily, but that's just what CrossFit is. It just shows you that it's hard. Like there's going to be days where you're uncomfortable, and there's 2 kinds of people. There's one, the people that are going to come to class and see that like, I can see the benefit, and even though I'm sore, I'm going to go back tomorrow. And then there's the ones that are just like, I don't want to hurt that much, and I'm just not interested. And that's kind of the tough part. So it is challenging, and it's really challenging on our coaches, because we have new people coming in daily, and Banff gets 5 million visitors a year. Some are here only for a week, some are here for 3 or 4 months at a time. But I've coached at, I think, 4 other gyms in the last 10 to 12 years. And Edmonton, for example, when you get a member, you're hoping to have them for the foreseeable future. Where Banff, it's like, they're going to leave. And so you're trying to put everything, you're making friends, you're trying to put everything into this person, but they're leaving in 2 months. And it's hard, because at first it's like, when I first took over the gym, it like hurts your feelings. You're like, what am I doing wrong? Like sometimes I'll lose 15 members in a month. And you just need to realize that like, no matter what you did, you couldn't help it. Like they were going back home. So now I need to replace those 15 members with new people coming in. So
that's cool. You just set the stage for, I think there's so much cool stuff that I want to unpack. I'm going to try to file it away. So, but for the sake of a bit of a timeline, so from from Vernon, BC, spent 2 years in Calgary, 2 years in Wisconsin, we don't need the year by year update, but, and you already said like that's cool. You've coached at 4 different affiliates before Banff, which is really cool. Give me kind of a little like synopsis of like how did you get to Banff?
Yeah. So when I finished school in Wisconsin, I basically moved straight to Edmonton and found a gym. The first day I got there, I flew in, I'd moved in with one of my buddies that I actually grew up with. He was living in Edmonton, and just Googled CrossFit gym. And the closest one to me was CrossFit Armory. And went there the next day. I think I did
an open workout there once.
Okay. Yeah. It's a great space. They have a good team there, and I ended up I was in Edmonton for 7 or 8 years. So from the second day I arrived to the day I left, CrossFit Armory was my gym, and I got my level 1. It must have been shortly after I moved to Edmonton. So I started coaching just very part-time, like it was maybe 1 class a week. And it was a super competitive gym. So it was like a little bit different from Vernon. So even though Jeremy was actually, he had made it to the games a couple of times, I think in 11 or 12. Beyond that, there wasn't a lot of competing. It was, that just wasn't the scene there. And Armory was like, it was hardcore. Like it kind of almost got cliquey where every year the gym was trying to send a team to regionals and individuals. So I ended up being on the regional team in 2016 and 2017. Cool. And then after Armory, I coached a little bit. Armory had bought another gym, so it was called Champ City. And then Armory bought it and called it Armory South. So I coached a little bit there as well. And then towards the end of COVID, I got a message from Jeremy and Deanna back in Vernon, and they asked if I would be interested in coaching full time. And at the time in Edmonton, I was still coaching part-time CrossFit and almost full-time hockey. So just on ice power skating. At hockey academies in the city. And then I talked to my partner Heather, and I was like, I don't know, like, should we go try something different? We've been in Edmonton a long time. We've been talking about leaving. So we did it. We sold our house and moved to Vernon, and I started coaching full time at CrossFit Vernon, which kind of came full circle because that's where I started.
Yeah.
Coached there for about 1.5 years. And it was just at that point that I decided that I wanted to own my own gym. I kind of want, not that I didn't like it there. I learned a lot from Jeremy and the team. It was just like, I just want to do things my way. I've been doing this a long time now. And I think, not that my way is better or worse. It was just like, there's a few things that I thought like, this is how I would do it. And I just kept having that thought. So it was like, why don't I just either start my own or buy an existing? Towards the end of Vernon, sorry, I'm skipping back a little bit, but that was when I went to Hawaii, because I know we're talking about where I had coached. So I went to Hawaii, but we were still living in Vernon. Went a couple times back and forth, and when I was in Hawaii, it was like I was running the affiliate. Bethany was off the island, so I'm running all the classes. I'm signing people up. Figuring out how to use.
You got a little trial run of what it would be like without the risk,
right? And it's not like it is a lot more than just coaching, because up until that point I'd been doing it a long time, but I was just coaching, so I didn't really have to worry about making sure this person that just walked in off the street was getting charged for their drop. And it was like I think the owner's like, got all this, I'm just going to coach the class. Which is obviously not the right attitude, but it gave me appreciation for like, this is what it would be like if I did my own thing. So anyways, I basically got back to Vernon after my second trip to Hawaii and sat down. I was like, where do I want to own a gym? Like, where would be the coolest place to own a gym? And Banff was kind of the no-brainer. So at the time, Liz White owned the gym, sent her an email and just said, this is who I am. If you're ever interested in selling your gym, I would be interested. And timing, just long story short, worked out well. I think she was kind of ready to move on. The gym was in a tough place coming out of COVID. And I've said this a million times, it's zero reflection on Liz. She's still a part of our gym, still coaches. Unbelievable gym owner. She's a good friend. It was just like, she was just burnt out, as any affiliate owner would have been at that time. So again, now I'm dragging Heather back to Alberta. So we move, we get the deal done, move to Banff, and that was 2.5 years ago, and we're still running the affiliate to today. So that's kind of the story from start to finish on where I coached and how I ended up in Banff.
Very cool. So interesting. I mean, without getting into specifics, the deal process, the negotiation and everything, did it go smoothly? Was there things you learned? Like I said, and I know I can already tell you're a respectful guy, so it's like, but they because when I bought an existing affiliate 6 years ago, you expect it to take 3 weeks, and for us it took 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like I had never bought a business before. I had no idea how it would go, and you're thinking like, it's just like a small CrossFit gym, it can't be that hard, but there's a lot there. And anyone selling any type of business, they're going to value it at a certain dollar amount, and it's like, that's their baby, they started it, and they're not just going to give it away for nothing. But that being said, like, a business is only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. So there was that parting and kind of coming up with the right number. At the time, there was actually a gym, an affiliate for sale in Calgary, which is just an hour down the road. And I kind of used that number on, like, I know how big this gym is, roughly how many members they have. I'm going to use that number to base off what I think I should be paying for this gym.
Because like I said, I think it's easy to talk about these things without getting into specifics, but it's the business, especially a CrossFit affiliate, because it's an owner-operator based business. This is someone who's probably, not saying Liz, but like because I saw it on my end too. They're going to value it way higher. And it's not a wrong thing. But when buying a business, you do have to do your due diligence of, like, quite literally, like, flip over every sheet of paper, look through every little thing. And it's like, it's an uncomfortable process, but it's worth doing, again, for any of the tens of people listening who might be interested in buying an affiliate, is like, because you can, as a buyer, get yourself in trouble as well. Agree, disagree, or...
Yeah, 100%. And just a gym, like the whole fitness industry and buying a gym in general, I feel like it's a little bit different. So we sent the numbers to family, friends, and relatives that are accountants. One of them being the former owner of CrossFit Armory, so he knew obviously very well the CrossFit space and what it should be worth, and he's an accountant, and everyone was looking at these numbers because
it's not worth anything.
We're coming out of COVID, and they, like, one of them literally said, I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole. Like, it's just not there, unfortunately. I get it's a gym in Banff, and it's probably, you're paying like the Banff price, and I just, like, I don't know, I just kept having to tell Heather, like, we can make this work. Like, I get what the numbers are telling us, what we should pay, and I'm seeing where we can take this. Like, I didn't even know Banff. Like, we just came through like anyone else, just, doing a hike every summer, but I didn't know anyone here. And yeah, it was tough to convince her and anyone else telling me it's worth this amount. So anyways, again, we're not going to get into too specific of numbers, but when I did take over, like the only way to really find out was like sitting down. At the time we were using Zen Planner. I sat down at the computer and looked at the Zen Planner numbers, and it was like I think we were at like 38 members, and the gym was not making money like at all. It was losing money every single month, and my heart just sunk because the numbers that we saw on paper that also included like punch passes that were expiring and people that were moving in the next couple of weeks after I took over. That like all these numbers, just everything came to fruition. I'm just like, oh my God, like maybe it's worse than I thought.
Right.
But fast forward, so it was just it was a lot of work. I've been around this space a long time. I watched how Jeremy did things and Vernon, and it was just like I had some ideas. So I'm like, we're just going to give this an honest go. Like I'm here. I've paid for the gym. I need to make it work. And fast forward 4 or 5 months, and now we're in the money, and it's not because at first you're buying yourself a job. Like yeah. I knew I wasn't going and being able to sit back and be like, this thing's running itself. Like I can just collect a paycheck. And so you really have to go back to like, why do I like coaching CrossFit? Like, why did I need to enjoy it. I can't just be thinking about like business numbers all the time. And so, you do your, there's some trials and you have your little tips and tricks to like get people in the door at first. And then, over time, it's just like, especially in a town of Banff, we have 8,000 people, word starts spreading that like, yeah, these guys are doing a pretty good job. And we just kept growing and growing and growing. And it obviously ended up working out in the end. But it was certainly scary off the start.
For sure. And that's exactly what I was almost alluding to, because you see the papers, you see the numbers, you're like, hell yeah, it's a no-brainer. And I got the same stuff, and actually the gentleman who gave me the money to buy the gym, he's like, there's a business here, I just want to make sure you make money also. Mm-hmm. you're like yeah, but it also takes a certain person, and I hear that in you, of like, I'm not buying this affiliate, I'm buying me an opportunity to go all in on this thing that I think I can do. Mm-hmm. Right. So like you're almost buying yourself, you, Kyle, me, Matt, an opportunity to be like, I got to do this thing. It may not rationally make sense on numbers, but emotionally it is going to prime me for the first little bit.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. And something also that I haven't mentioned is, it kind of gave me a little bit of a safety net, but I also I work for the Professor Project, Brent Fikowski, and okay. I have it's been over 3 years now. So, but anyways, there's 2 companies. So the Professor Project and Train Your Weakness, and I am on salary there. So it gave me a little bit of an opportunity to be like, I don't need to take a paycheck right away. I can just trust the process, and at least I have some income there. So that was also huge.
For sure. And I think that's not uncommon either, is people buying the business because they're like, okay, I have this safety net to float me from there. So you mentioned like, what were those, you alluded to it, but what were those even that first year, like what was that like, and what were some successes and lessons along the way?
I would say, well, first off, and I've heard Carrie Ann talk about it, like every gym owner has the same story, where at first it was like, I didn't realize I would sometimes be in the gym without leaving once for like 16 hours straight, like right. From 5 a.m. on. So you're just exhausted. And I had no idea. Like I'm thinking, like I'm actually only coaching maybe 4 or 5 classes in a day. I still had a group of coaches that I inherited from Liz. And so I'm thinking like, I'm going to have a break. It's not like, I'll have time to breathe. I'll still have time to do the Professor Project and write a Train Your Weakness program. And it was like, it just, because you're not, there's so much more beyond just coaching classes. I'm responding to all of these emails. I'm also running our Instagram. I'm cleaning the gym. You're just, like I said, everyone has the same story where you are everything.
Yeah.
So that was I think just learning to like manage my time and like set boundaries. So it was like, no matter what, every time when I get home at 7:30, I'm just like, I'm putting my phone on silent, and I don't need to respond to every single email. Like I can get back to them in the morning. So just like to save my sanity, it was just, that was the biggest thing, is just like set boundaries. And even to this day, we're 2.5 years in, and I still have to be like, just stop. Like I can reply to them in the morning, or I can tweak the programming for next week tomorrow morning. I don't need to do it right now, because it's just like, it's constantly, the wheels are turning. And
that could be the biggest lesson. Sorry to cut you off. That could be the biggest lesson for any affiliate owner, especially new one, is like the email can wait for the morning.
But it's really tough to convince yourself that, because I gave the numbers and I knew where we needed to grow quick if we were going to turn this into something successful. So at first it was, I don't remember exactly how long it took, but it was probably a couple months of like zero boundaries, and just like, I'm up at 11 o'clock responding to emails and coming up with my next Instagram post and figuring out what, maybe, okay, we could do like a 2-week trial just to like get people in the door and just to like show them what we do. And it's just like, go, 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 go. And then eventually it's like, you're going to have a mental breakdown if you don't. And also it's like, now you're not enjoying it as much. So like, you have to take a step back and again, be like, why am I doing this? Like I'm not, people in class are not getting the coaching they deserve, because like I'm burning myself out. So like, take a step back, take a breath, and like remember why you started coaching CrossFit in the first place and why you wanted to own a gym. Because otherwise, like, I should have just bought a coffee shop or something. And
well, especially like in Banff, like you specifically picked out on the map where you would love to own a place. And it's like, not done correctly, you could be spending all your time in the 4 walls and not outside of it, which is why you bought it there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that was a big part that was driving me nuts too, is I kept thinking like, we've been living here for 2 months and I've only been on like 3 hikes, and I don't, like I gotta get out. I gotta be outside. I gotta be outside. I gotta be outside more. And so you're just in this constant battle of like, I need to make this work if we're going to stay here. Otherwise there's going to be no hikes, because we're going to be moving back to Edmonton or something. But also like, enjoying Banff and being a little bit more present. And so, yeah, but just to go back to like your original question, it was like, I think that was the biggest thing for sure. Biggest surprise. And then also the biggest lesson is just like, set boundaries.
Yeah. Then how has it evolved for you? I guess different ways, because you mentioned earlier like a lot of transient traffic, and you've now grown accustomed to like, you'll lose 15 people in a month, and it's just the nature of your business and your location. So like, when did you first start realizing that, and then kind of how did you start moving towards some version of a solution for that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like I didn't, because it's the seasons, right? So it's hitting you like once every 4 months. So you kind of, you feel like you start to get into a groove, and then it's like, bam, everyone's leaving. And at first I didn't understand, like, where's everyone going? Like, why? Like a couple of them would, it'd be like, sorry, I'm moving back home. I'm going to have to cancel my membership. And it's like, that sucks. Like, it's just, like we were just getting into a groove here. Now you're leaving. And some just be like, hey, sorry, cancel my membership without giving you a reason. So it was like that we would have took over in the winter. So following that winter was like the first, like, whoa, that sucked. I just did all this work. I've just spent 3 months trying to like get all these people in the door. I feel like we're doing well. And now I've just lost 10 of them. And that's a lot of money going out the door. And it's also just like, it sucks with like the community, because people start to become friends with these people, and they're great members. They show up 4 or 5 times a week, and it's like, hey, see you at the 6 a.m. tomorrow. And then all of a sudden that person is not at the 6 a.m. because they moved back to Australia. So, and then you have the summer. And so I'm like, okay, I'm starting to gain members back. And then the fall starts to hit and I lose them all. So then I think it was probably like that full year of like going through the different or maybe even a year and a bit for it to like stop hurting my feelings basically, and realize there's like nothing we can do. And, you know, we had a summit in Red Deer. When was that? Last year sometime, and Push Press came in and did a really good job talking about like churn and how we can keep people basically and stop them from going out the door. And it was a great presentation, but a lot of it just did not really pertain to like our gym, because it's like, make sure they're getting 13 check-ins a month, make sure they're recording their scores. And it's like, we do that. Like they didn't even record scores before I took the gym over. We record scores. We're constantly on like, get here 3-4 times a week, just show up. And it doesn't matter. They did that, but they're still leaving Banff. So there's like, I can't do anything about the churn. I shouldn't say anything. We've obviously lost people where it just like, for whatever reason, the gym wasn't for them. We did our best, and you just kind of got to move on. But for the most part, it's like, I don't have an exact number, but probably close to like 95% of people that leave our gym are leaving Banff.
Right. Which then it can be just reassuring to just be like, yeah, that's just the way it is. So did you have to change because I'm guessing you've got like these shoulder seasons and then probably like a peak in revenue, a drop in revenue, a peak in revenue, a drop in revenue. So like, are you having to be smarter about your budgeting so that you can get through those valleys?
Not really, because like the other thing about Banff is there is those 4 to 5 million people coming through that are just dropping in. They're just here for the weekend. So it would kind of be like almost like a wanderlust in Bali, right? Like in the summer, we lose a lot of our regular members because they just want to hike and there's no convincing them otherwise, or they're leaving and moving back home. But then in a summer, we could potentially have 400 drop in. So do the math on like their drop in, and then most people want to buy a t-shirt. And so it's like the valleys kind of that you're talking about have been less because of that. And same thing with the winter, you lose the skiers and snowboarders, but you also have people coming in to ski at Sunshine, Lake Louise, and Norquay, and they are going to do a drop-in while they're here. So that is I shouldn't say that's certainly helped to just like keep things fairly steady.
So then, looked at a different way is not affiliate owners aren't necessarily always the greatest at answering phones and emails. And it's funny, ironically, we talked about setting boundaries, but for you, like that's a strong part of your revenue streams is drop-ins. So you have to have a process for that. And not only process, you have to be welcoming, have to create a welcoming environment for people, as opposed to, it's easy for a community. You can have a strong community, but sometimes that community can be gated. I'm talking about a metaphor, obviously, is like, it's like, oh, our community is so great, but we don't really want people who aren't in our community here. So I guess, obviously 2 questions in there is like, how important is for you to stay on top of the administrative side, and do you have help with that? And then how does your community handle, or how did you create a culture, I would say, of accepting outsiders or drop-in people?
Yeah, both good questions. So I don't really have help with that. And just going back to when I first took things over, like I answered every single call. And sometimes people are calling at midnight or 1 a.m. because they're planning their drop in, but they're across the world. So they're not doing the math on what time it is in Banff. And so I was like, I can't, that's potentially, that could be $60 if I don't answer the phone, because that person want to come
too, right?
and it adds up. So I think, I don't answer every call now. And we also just get a lot of people wanting to sell us stuff or be part of our gym because we're in Banff in some way and do a part. And I can't answer all those calls. So I just kind of use my discretion on, like, I've missed a call, I have an answer machine. If it was important, I'll leave a message. And and oftentimes I will just text back when I have time to be like, hey there, this is Kyle from CrossFit Banff. Sorry I missed your call. And, if you're looking to drop in, blah, blah, blah. And oftentimes you don't hear back, which tells me it probably wasn't that important anyways.
Sure.
And I just find most people nowadays, like, our website is very easy to use. It's Kilo runs it, and it's like a drop in is right at the top. So like if you're looking to drop in, that's the easiest way to do it. And 90% of people don't call, don't email, they just go and register. And then to answer your other question, I think this community is just so used to having visitors. Like, it's not the same thing in Hawaii.
And when you say community, do you mean like the physical community of Banff overall?
Both. So it's just like I said, there's 5 million bodies coming through Banff, and a lot of them in the summer. And it's just like, as the locals, it's just that's just what is expected. So you're used to having new people all the time. And then at the gym, it's the same thing. It's like, before I took the gym over, the numbers, I'm sure, for drop-ins would have been very similar to what they are now. And so it's just something that people are used to. We bring everyone into the board, and it's like, hey, we have, Scott and Lisa joining us from Switzerland today, and we're gonna do a quick inch. And it's like, our members are just used to that. So it's like, everyone's gonna give them a quick suggestion on what they should do when they're in town. And it's just like, everyone's like, okay, like, no one's snotty about it. Everyone's just like, yeah, I think you should do this. And it's just kind of that's a big part of our gym. It's not going to change. But also, I mentioned it, 20 minutes ago, it's tough on our coaches, because you want the drop in, you want their experience to be great and a good experience. And you also want to make sure you're coaching our members just the same. So it's like, in the summer, almost every single class has a drop in, and we want to make sure we're paying attention to the drop ins and our members. So
I feel like that takes a lot of discipline to, like,
it's just I think it's like a skill that you have to acquire. In Edmonton, we might have had 10 drop-ins over that when I was there over like 8 years, and we will get 10 drop-ins in a day here. So it's just like, our coaches do an unbelievable job of handling that. And it's just like, we just kind of have a system of, like, making sure we're introducing, making sure every single person gets a touch, if not 2-3 times in that class. And we also cap our classes. So we have a small gym. And are you coming to the affiliate summit, by the way? Okay, so you'll see it, but it's not a big space. And so it's like, it kind of helps by capping the classes to make sure that everyone's getting the same attention. And I've been at gyms before where we've had 30 people in a class with one coach, and there's no way that everyone's getting their money's worth from the coach in that class. So
well, and I mean, you said something important there too. It's like, getting the money's worth from the coach as opposed to the money's worth from the workout. It's like, doesn't matter if you're dropping in from Switzerland, Japan, or Germany, like you come here to get coached, not come to a CrossFit workout. And that can be a way that you can provide an experience for someone on their way in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's like, even just like the experience alone. So we're with our program, we follow CAP now. I used to do our programming, and it's CAP is awesome. So we use that now. And some days it'll be like just running intervals. And so you've had someone that's paid for a drop in, and they're maybe not like it's like, oh, I was hoping to do some weightlifting today. And it's like, this is what we're doing. Just like, I don't know, run and look at the mountains. It's like, this is probably the best 400-meter run you're ever going to do. So we also get lots of that where it's like, they just happen to come on a day where they probably could have done it right out of their hotel, but we're just trying to provide them a good experience regardless of what the programming is that day.
Well, and you could look at the opposite, like a heavy day. It's like, oh, it's just a heavy day. It's like, oh, I wanted to get a sweat on. It's like, well, no, I mean, don't worry, you will. We'll make sure you get what you came here for.
Yeah, and if you do it, like, again, our coaches do a great job, but if we're doing our job in that hour, it shouldn't matter what the programming is. So it's like, we're not just gonna do some A skips, B skips, and C skips and then start running. There's like, we will fill the hour and make sure when you leave that you've heard something or learned something that you didn't know before you came to the gym. So
I'm talking about Monday's workout. Monday's workout, 400 meters.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And I'm curious about that because, as you being a newer affiliate owner, you started by doing your own programming and then switched to CAP. What was that experience like? And I mean, I know you've already sung CAP's praises, but just maybe from a personal standpoint of like being like, yes, I can program, but do I need to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the idea off the start was just like, I've been programming with the Professor Project and Train Your Weakness. Like, I know what I'm doing. I think I can. It's almost like an ego thing where it's just, I think I can provide the best programming because I know my members, and it's a lot of work. It's not just programming those 5 or 6 days in a week. Like, you're making sure we're not pushing too much or pulling too much or squatting too much in a week and balancing it out. And after a while, it's like, I do enough at this gym, and I'm going to take a look at this CAP program, see what it's all about, and we'll give it a try. And it for the most part, it's great. So it's like, that's just one thing that I could take off my list, and our members are still getting super fit by doing this programming. So I didn't have to do the programming. This is going to be great for them. So,
well, it's like buying back in the Christinis talked about this in an earlier podcast episode. Like, affiliate owners need to focus on buying back their time.
mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't matter how good you are at programming. And like, I know a few folks, like a buddy of mine south of here, he loves programming. It's like, that's great. You love it. But if you're like, I can do it, I'm good at it, but it's like, okay, what's a personal training session with you? If it's $100, okay, well, you could be buying back your time for free at $100 an hour by following this programming. Like,
mm-hmm. Like, I listened to Carrie Ann talk about it too. It's like, I can't remember what she was talking about. It was something, maybe it was like social media stuff, but it's like, why didn't I pass this off years ago? Like, I just thought I needed to do it, and then now she's passed it off to someone who's doing a great job, and it's like, you almost feel guilty. It's like, maybe I should be doing the programming, or someone complains because the CAP programming had a lot of cardio that week, and we didn't really touch much of a bar. We only touched a barbell once that week, and it's like, then it's like, well, maybe I should. And it's just like, no, this is good programming and I don't need to do it. And I probably should have done it sooner. So, that was also a little bit of and it still is to this day. Like, you're always going to get people making comments being like, oh, we haven't done this in a long time. It's like, it is what it is. There's a reason why they are programming the way they are. And, last week you also only showed up 2 times. So if you would have showed up 4 times, you would have seen more.
Yeah, it's exactly right. It's like, it's just funny how those things, like, you can't please everyone. Like, you have to trust who you are as an affiliate owner and like what you're doing. And it's not like we're passing the blame or pointing the finger at them, but we're also saying like, hey, yeah, you could come more and you can get more, and you missed out on those days that you wanted. Right?
Yeah. And like, as you would know, as an affiliate owner, it's just like, that's also half the battle, is just like, just show up, just please show up. Like, you hear every excuse in the book on like, well, I had this or this appointment. And it's like, well, we also run a class at 6 a.m. You could have just got up a little bit earlier and came to that one. So just show up. The programming works if you show up.
Well, and that's what's the interesting like dichotomy of it, is like, you have a side income stream for yourself offering, I'm guessing, specific or individualized programming, or a secondary programming thing. So it could be easy for you to turn that into a revenue stream in the gym. Like, oh, we'll give you, it's like, well, no, we can just offer you, if you trust the program, and generally the fittest people in your gym outside of a highly competitive gym, for us, the fittest people in the gym are the ones that show up Monday to Friday, right? And actually follow their nutrition. That's the secondary thing. But like, we had, during COVID, we shortened our classes to 45 minutes rather than extending them to, and like keeping them at an hour and then putting a 15-minute buffer. And everyone got fitter and everyone got less injured. And they're like, are we going to go back to hour-long classes? I'm like, I'm not saying no, but it's also like, let's unpack that question a little more for a second here. Everyone
did you guys end up sticking with that, or are you still running?
No, we have an hour, but I guess maybe like long term, we're less inclined to fill 60 minutes end to end, because of like, no, you can do less and get more, because you're actually doing the true process, and like, you're not overloading your body or robbing Peter to pay Paul, so to speak, and different things.
Yeah. And that's the other, that just reminded me too with CAP, is like something I just found when I was programming. I was like, I think we all at some point get caught in this, but it's just like more volume to make everyone happy. So it's like, oh yeah, we're going to get a bruiser in today. We're going to do like a 30-minute AMRAP of this, and this. And often, not always, but often we were short on like ending the class with a proper cool down and mobility, where it's like, it's just written in front of me now. And it's like, okay, make sure everyone has 5 minutes. You don't have to leave. We're going to make sure we do a 1-minute pigeon per side and a seated forward fold for 1 minute, and just, spending that, filling that hour with stuff that it's like, yes, it's not lifting weights and getting our heart rate crazy high. It's just like, this is recovery and this is part of the class, so don't skip it.
And that can be just as valuable, if not more valuable, than like a part A, part B, part C. And even we've been, we would write scores down like as the workout was unfolding, and we've actually been experimenting more and trying to do more of like, I'm going to get everyone's score at the end. Meaning, to that point, right, is if everyone's in a pigeon pose, now I have a captive audience. Okay, Jenny, what'd you get? Steve, what'd you get? Carol, what'd you get? But then it's like everyone gets to hear it, and then they're like, woo! Yeah, Carol, you crushed that, right? Like,
RX, make sure you put RX.
Yeah, woo! Right? Like, and so exactly, like, you're missing out on those opportunities by not doing those things. So that's cool that you're doing that as well. So one thing I'm curious to kind of close things out here is, so, I had a very similar experience to you in the sense of went from, this gym to that gym to this gym to that gym. And along the way, you're like, ooh, I would do this differently. And again, not like they're doing it wrong. It's like, yeah, I would do this differently. I would do that differently. So is there something that along the way you were like, if I had my own gym, I would do it. I would do this thing, and you were able to execute on that.
Yeah, I think that like this isn't necessarily a good thing. But I'd mentioned going back to CrossFit Vernon, something Jeremy was big into was coaches meetings, and we had one every single week. And I know a lot of gyms do that. And he also, at the time, refused to have a part-time coach. So if you were coaching at CrossFit Vernon, that's what you did. You were a full-time CrossFit coach. And I 100% got it at the time, and I still get it to this day. But I found it's like, I just found myself thinking when I was coaching there, it's just like, we already spend so much time at the gym. Like, I'm doing this full time. I don't know if I just found myself like not enjoying going to coaches meetings all the time. And I also thought like, I think there would be benefit in like, if you can find the right ones, there'd be benefit in having a part-time coach. It doesn't mean they're not doing a good job.
Yeah.
So that was like, it was just kind of on my mind that year and a half, 2 years. And then moving to Banff and taking this gym over, it's not really an option to have full-timers. So we actually have, including myself and Heather, we have 10 coaches, and everyone is part-time, but they are all unbelievable coaches, and we don't have coaches meetings every single week. So I think a lot of affiliate owners would be listening to this and be like, oh, well, you're missing out. Like, coaches meetings are great. And I don't disagree with that. It's just like I said, we spend so much time at the gym anyways. And so if I can sometimes I'll send out like the professional coach email to my coach, just be like, just read this, guys. Like, we can continue our education and like bettering ourselves as coaches without spending 2 hours every single week at the gym, like meeting face to face. And like I said, the part-time thing can work. I've seen it not work. I've been at gyms in the past where, and I'm sure you have too, like you drop into gyms all over the world and there's really good CrossFit coaches and there's also really bad ones that probably shouldn't be coaching. And you just kind of got to find the good part-timers. So,
well, exactly. And I mean, that's the beauty of the affiliate model is you can do it the way you want to do it, as long as it's just true to your vision, right? And as opposed to like, if you hear you should only have part-time or full-time coaches and you struggle so hard to make that happen, it's like, well, you could be working so much until you find that full-time coach, as opposed to it's like, well, no, maybe I'm going to try to buy back my time. And so, yeah, I have 14 coaches and all of them except me are part-time. So, right. And so like, I totally get it from there. So,
and it's just like the last thing I'll say is just like, we kind of touched on it before, but just letting go and being able to trust these coaches, even though they're not full-time, or trust someone to run our social media, or trust someone to start answering the phone. And I, to this day, I'm only 2.5 years in, but it's like we have a camera in our gym and I'll be like, oh, I should just check to like, see what's going. And you don't like, I don't need to do that. Like, these coaches I have are great. Some of them have been in Banff almost their entire life. Like, they're doing a good job. Like, I don't need to be hands-on all the time. So just like taking a step back and being like, these people can do it. I don't need to be there all the time. Like, yes, I own the gym, and like technically as the affiliate owner or manager, you are the face of the gym, but these people are also great. So just like trust the process, trust them, be able to take a step back. And so that's something that I'm still working on.
Oh, I get to come see it in action in less than a month time, which I'm excited for.
Looking forward to it. It looks like we have, I was emailing with Carrie Ann yesterday. She said there's close to 60 people, so it should be a pretty good turnout.
And if you're listening to this, you weren't there, you missed out. And on that note, 3, 2, 1, time.